righty. So, we haven't talked about our friend Luigi Mangione.
No, we were. I was just saying, like, people say that he's a hero, but I'm a little torn on that.
Yeah, most of the girls think he's a hero, a sexy hero.
No, a lot of people.
No, you're right. A lot of people think, he's a vigilante. And there was a movie years back, and who was in it? I think it was Robert Redford. He was an old man, and he was living in a neighborhood with gangs.
Yeah.
And he drove an old car, and then he ended up taking one of the gang members in, and got friendly with him. But they were giving him a hard time, doing ugly things that they shouldn't have been doing. The neighborhood changed, and he flipped out. And he went wild on these kids. It was a good movie, but Mangione reminds me of that. Like people, he did bad, but he did good in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah,
it's hard to explain,
especially when you know that in one quarter they made that much money.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
And that's craziness to me. So people look at him as a hero because it's kind of like teaching these billionaires or, these corporations a lesson. But I don't think that's the way it should be done.
Yeah, well,
right?
No, obviously. But, people are fed up. They're stomping on us with their greed.
Yeah.
They really are. It's all about greed. That's why the CEO got murdered,
And the thing
corporate
is,
greed.
No, they would not just respond to like a strongly worded letter. They need this huge thing to happen.
Yeah. Do you think that they would like answer an email? They are so filtered it isn't funny.
Yeah. These billionaires, these corporations are not going to notice protest or letters. Like this kind of direct action, this violent act got their attention.
Yep.
But still, given that amount of money, they didn't learn shit.
No.
They're still going to keep fucking denying claims and making all this money off of people's fears.
Yeah.
Right. And off their illnesses.
And healthcare, we talked about it. They want to get rid of Medicare. It's just, people are at their beyond boiling.
And just like we've already mentioned about our friend Mike Johnson, I know, right? How like they're trying to cut Social Security, they're going to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and you're thinking about retiring sooner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 65 is an appropriate retirement age.
If they want to give me back everything I paid in, right?
Yeah.
Since day one, give me all that back, and we'll try to figure out some sort of an average interest rate, like it was in escrow.
Mm-hmm.
I might take a look at it. If it's a couple of $100,000, what do you think?
No, I don't know what a really good solution is.
Yeah.
But because there's millions of people that are on it, right?
Yeah, they can't go giving $250,000 to everybody.
You paid into it, you should get it back.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, younger generations are probably not going to have that in the future.
Right.
Because you're supposed to have your Medicare, which you get paid, right? You have your other retirement vehicles like your 401k.
Yep.
403B or Roth IRAs, all the other stuff that Roth IRAs don't get taxed. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's after tax. But things like your other forms of retirement, your pension, I think, might get taxed. Your Medicare definitely gets taxed.
Yeah, and your 401, where's the money go? It goes to big business, right to the top where they make friggin' money. So they want to cut everything out that they're not making money off of.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
They're stealing the money. That's what it is.
Unbelievable.
At the end of the day, right?
There's total lawlessness.
But back to Luigi. I don't know about but for me, he still killed someone.
Yeah.
No,
really.
Whether it was wrong or right.
I mean that was somebody's dad,
And he's not lesser of an asshole,
right?
For doing what he did. He
Yeah.
still had to do some disgusting things to this CEO, still had to do some disgusting shit to make the money that he did.
Yeah, and wasn't he like a recent CEO for them? Within the past couple of years, he didn't have a long tenure.
No, I don't remember really.
Yeah.
But But just like any other big corporation like this, it's like a fucking hydra, right? You cut the head off and there's still other ones to contend with.
Yeah. They multiply.
Yeah, some shit like that. However, hydra works.
Unbelievable.
But anyway,
they morph.
the latest on Luigi, or the last thing I saw, was that he has a state trial in September in Manhattan Supreme Court where he's facing second-degree murder and weapons charges. And in January of 2027, he is going to be on trial, and that's going to be the federal trial, if I understood this correctly.
Yeah.
And I think the defense also, I think that he's going to take like the insanity defense or some sort of psychiatric approach, saying that, his chronic pain probably caused him to inflict this harm onto someone else. I think they call it, an extreme emotional disturbance is what they called it.
Wow.
But the problem with that, right, it's just going to get him less time, because in order to claim that defense, you're admitting to killing the person.
Oh, wow. You have to plead.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So that's really fucking crazy.
And wasn't at first he was defending himself, remember?
He was,
The
but
first couple of times he went to court.
But remember the footage? I mean, that was him, I guess, right? Did they capture his face? I don't remember the footage. When it was kind of chilling to watch.
Yeah. They ended up getting him in McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because someone called it in.
Yeah.
We don't know yet anything, but I'm definitely going to be following that.
Yeah, come September, right?
Crazy interesting. So other things.
You know what I want to talk about? We talked about the roosters, right?
We did not talk about the roosters.
We didn't talk about the tin roosters.
What about the tin roosters?
The tin roosters at the omelet factory in Maine.
Oh, no, Gunkwit.
Yeah.
People are making a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, come to my neighborhood. I'll give you something to fucking complain about.
I know, right? Oh,
God. This is such bullshit. So there's these roosters that went up at this family. They're decorations. I thought they were cool.
Well, people see them. You see roosters on people's lawns. Those big tin roosters, or
you see mermaids.
Yeah,
you see
and
other birds.
And people in the town of Ogunquit, not people, the town. Well, they're saying that you're not supposed to have any sort of decorations or whatever on a business.
Oh, that's right, because it was attached to that omelet factory place.
Right. But the omelet factory. What you're going to picture this? It's on Route 1 in Maine, in Ogunquit, Maine. It's a house that the owners of the restaurant, which is called the Omelet Factory, they live in the house and they have their business next door, and they put two roosters, tin roosters,
like 6 foot tall.
Yeah, on each side of their door, and they've been there. And what happened was they adopted
an autistic child.
Yeah, and she got used to them. And autistic kids, when there's change, they become, the emotional distress takes over.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're using that as a defense. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
Hard to prove, hard to disprove. But the bottom line is, who gives a fuck, man?
Yeah,
seriously.
In the town, the people in the town,
leave it alone.
The people in the town are backing them up, and they're even putting roosters all over the town.
To support them.
In support, yeah. But they're beautiful. They're nice. They're decorations.
Think they're cool. I don't know if they had to go as far as like, oh, the kid needs it. But I can't disprove it.
Right.
So it's fine. I think it just comes out more fucked up. Like, oh, you're going to strip this from a kid?
Yeah. No, but
like, it's autistic?
What kind of an asshole do you have to be to even bring the roosters up at a town meeting? They're beautiful. They're not bothering anybody.
No, they're not bothering anybody. There's just people want to actually complain about nothing. They have nothing better to do with their time. But that's what I'm like, yeah, come to my neighborhood.
Yeah, really.
Let me show you some shit.
Unreal.
And
it's crazy because there was a cheese factory not too far, maybe a half a mile down the road from this omelet factory. It was the cheese factory, and it looked like a whale of cheese with a piece of the cheese cut out of the whale, and they had a mouse on the top of the building, and for 20 years nobody ever complained
said anything
about it.
Yeah,
That's
what I'm saying. People just want shit to complain about. And
Yeah,
it's dumb.
yeah. It's
Everybody
nasty.
has decorations, but then you did make a comment because you were like, "Oh, what's next? The rainbow flags?"
Yeah.
You know, like, but seriously though,
No,
those
really.
are decorations too, right?
Yep,
Because someone
yep.
gets offended by it, you're gonna like be like, "Oh, you got to remove that from your personal property or your business." Fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah,
For real.
take the Christmas wreaths down.
Like it's
Take the
ridiculous.
lobster traps and the buoys down.
Nobody have anything then.
Yeah,
If that's
really.
the case, right? If that's
Yeah.
how you want to do it.
And not only is it a coastal community, and it has the flair of the lobster traps and the buoys, it's also there's a lot of farms out there. Little farms. So the rooster fits.
Yeah.
You
Whatever,
know?
man. Pound
Yeah.
sand, Ogunquit. Like
Pick your beach.
yes, exactly.
God.
And other like things that we were looking at, I was kind of obsessing about, how billionaires are such victims.
Yeah.
Because here is a post that I saw from Elon Musk kind of complaining about, he's I don't even know what he's complaining about. But I guess he was mad because who said it that he
I never realized he had so many kids.
oh yeah, he's got baby mama drama and everything.
Oh my God.
And one of them was like, hey, I'm not going to take the payout, the hush money, because I'm going to tell it all. Good for her. Fuck him.
Yeah, she probably has a ton of money and doesn't give a shit anyway.
Well, he's crazy. He's fucking nuts anyway.
Yeah.
Here's him and I love the comments on Reddit here, but this is him.
My companies are suffering because I'm in the government.
Oh,
You just
God.
pointed that out a moment ago.
Right.
Do you think it helps sales if dealerships are being firebombed? Of course not. And Tesla customers are being intimidated all over the country and all over Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help Tesla? I mean, you had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with the Tesla stock price where the stock price had gone in half, and he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do! What a creep! What a jerk! Like who derives joy from that? And it was pointed out to him that actually, Minnesota State Pension Fund is a major investor in Tesla. But he didn't care. He was so overjoyed by Tesla stock going half.
Whatever, dude. You know what? This fucking guy.
No, seriously, you're a fucking.
And I
trillionaire.
love one of the responses on here. He's like the biggest welfare queen in America, guys. And then the next one says he puts the bitch in whiny little.
And what?
He puts the bitch in whiny little.
Oh my God.
That's great.
Jesus.
But yeah, man. But like,
Not a
but
problem.
all of these billionaires that feel like they're being oppressed now because,
Yeah.
and you know what? He decided to take on that Doge committee, right? To be in charge of it. But like I've been saying, these billionaires, they're not popular right now. They're not going to be able to put their names on a ballot and anyone's going to fucking vote for them, right? If anything, they're going to get laughed at. And it's well deserved, right?
But
these
even
guys.
even if they lose, and they're getting in for all the wrong reasons too. That's why they want to get in there. But even if they lose their seat, at the end of the day, they're still fucking multi-billionaires. Like, why even bother running? Like, go enjoy your money, man.
Technically, he's a trillionaire.
Now he is. Yeah.
Like, who needs that money? For fuck's sake. What are you going to do with all that money? You could do so many good things with that money, but you're choosing not to.
He's going to, he makes money when he sleeps. When he dies, he's going to make money.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
Absolutely. Oh, sound of the city.
Hey, let's see if we can hear what they're saying. Let's eavesdrop in the city for a moment here.
Wow, these mics. I need a camera out there.
Yeah, we live in a neighborhood, and oh my God, there's a homeless shelter probably 10 buildings away.
I don't have
a
a
block
problem.
away.
I don't have a problem with having a homeless shelter in the area. Okay, like we could coexist. They need housing too.
Yep.
Okay, they need shelter. However, the lack of regulation is what's making me crazy.
Yeah. And, I'm looking out the window at them, and definitely There's some serious mental health issues
But
going on.
this is what happens when we cut Medicaid, okay,
Yep.
and other services, right? This is what we're going to get more of. This is only going to get worse,
Absolutely.
right? And speaking of like cutting Medicaid and services from the people, God, Donald Trump just behaving badly. He just can't fucking get out of his own way.
Really, everything he does, every word out of his mouth.
It's just lies. Like he's saying there was going to be a meeting today, and like I there was a deal with Iran, but now they're like fighting again, and nobody knows what's happening, right? Because they're just not reporting what they're like doing like accurately.
He made a mess out of the government.
He really did.
He
And
made a
then,
mess out of the military. I can imagine what the morale is like.
yeah. And how about that fucking reflecting pool?
Oh my God.
Right. And this is my thought about the reflecting pool. Like, yes, you should stay on top of it. It requires upkeep. Algae is going to be part of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Didn't they arrest a former Olympian for damaging it?
He didn't, though.
He didn't.
No, there was a piece of paint that already came off or was coming off.
Really?
Yeah, so Trump hires, someone to do the job without looking for, what do you call them, bids?
Yeah. And it was a no bid contract.
Yeah, it was a no bid contract that he gave to friends of his. And I say friends because these are people who gave money to his campaign. So then he's throwing money back at them.
Yep.
They did the job. They did it incorrectly. They were probably, like everyone else he hires, not qualified to do the fucking job.
Yeah. How fast did it deteriorate?
Yeah, the same day. No, the same day
God.
it started to be a problem from what I understand, from what I've read. Like there were already problems with it, right? And I don't know what the expectation was about this reflecting pool, but it's out in the open.
Yeah.
Okay. At one point, they were dumping hydrogen peroxide in there.
Oh, God.
Okay. Which is going to be poisonous to the, whatever wildlife is going to come into it.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, birds are going to go into it because
No
it's
doubt.
water.
Yeah. And people go in there too.
Yeah. They're
There's,
going to,
there's always people cooling
animals
off.
are going to go in there. Right. There's going to be wildlife. And if you put hydrogen peroxide in there, they're just going to get ill and they're going to die.
God, should we call security for that alarm?
No,
Call off security.
But that's the thing about that,
Yeah.
He's just handing money to his friends, and that's what's offensive about this whole thing. And now, they tried to start this lie by saying that it was vandalized. Now you have National Guard over there, so now you're spending yet more money, make this lie be true, and then and now people are like, no, dude, like you lied, and if you're going to get water, natural water from a river source or wherever you got it from, it's going to have fucking algae in it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So just let it be natural.
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe turn it into like a lake or something.
Or, like maybe let the lily pads grow.
Yeah.
Maybe frogs, just let.
But that's what I'm saying. Let nature do its thing, and just, manicure it or take care of it the way it should be taken care of, and let it be environmental. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, did you want a clear water pool? It's not going to happen. It's huge in that environment. Right. And it doesn't need to be chlorinated because people are not swimming in it. Okay. Yeah. So just let it be and let nature be part of it. I don't understand what his problem is. And this is what he does with his vanity projects.
Yep.
Right. To include his ballroom. Right. Again.
Didn't he cover up the one of the presidents put in a pool? I think he got rid of the pool, the White House pool.
I don't even remember that at all.
Yeah, I heard that they got rid of the White House pool for the ballroom.
Oh, Jesus.
Believable.
Well, they got rid of that whole wing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no more. Which wing was that? The East Wing?
Yeah.
It's done,
yeah.
right? There's no East, why even call it the West Wing anymore? There's no East Wing, right? That's weird. I don't understand.
God.
Okay, so there was no need to spend. Now we're going to spend more money to fix this
Yeah.
reflecting pool?
It's just
Come
going to be an
on.
ongoing
It's
battle.
just stupid.
But that was a good idea. Let nature take its course.
But all this money that's being used
Yeah.
to make it into something that it cannot be, right? Like you can't. It's so arrogant.
At
to be
first,
that
it was
way.
only like $3 million. Now it's in like
15
40 million
or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
even know. I thought it was like
outrageous.
15. Now you're saying it's 40.
Yeah,
You're
no,
probably right.
It's up there.
I'm barely paying attention because it just pisses me off.
Yeah.
And he still wants that stupid, the Kennedy Center with his name on it. His name got taken off really quick.
The arch.
Fuck. And he wants that arch still, you know?
God.
It's just him behaving like a fucking shit.
You know what kills me? Like, he's so behind the 8 ball. He wants to put the arch in, right, for the nation's 250th birthday. And it's not going to be done for it. Like, why wasn't it done? It should have been ready for the birthday.
That shit is this week. What's happening?
Yeah, like,
it's not going to happen. What the fuck's
like,
wrong
what
with
are
him?
you thinking, man?
I can't with him.
It's
just too
total
much.
ugliness.
And I can't believe we still have years left of this.
Wow.
Right? Everybody needs to vote all of this away if there's voting, right?
Yeah.
But now he's like playing this game where he's not going to sign any more bills into law because he wants the Votes Act to be passed, right? Remember that act? How like, you won't be able, it's going to be harder to vote for certain individuals, okay? Starting with our trans community, right? Because
with the Mr. and Mrs. or he,
like, their
male,
sexes
female.
are changed now, they have different names. Women who got married, people of color are probably going to have a harder time to vote as well because they're not going to be able to get to polling places because they just won't be available anymore.
Unbelievable.
I mean, and then they're just redistricting, gerrymandering all of these places, these sites, so they can lean more Republican.
Yeah, the districts, like normally, a district is from point A to point B, it's so jagged, the lines, like the districting goes to where they want the votes and then it pulls back and goes to another area. It's so messed up.
Yeah.
It really is.
I really don't get it either. I did look at something because we talked about Mamdani earlier, and I had to quickly look up what you were talking about. And that's disappointing.
Absolutely.
I guess he got a lot of backlash from that, right? Because this person, Imam Siraj Wahaj, is the name of this person who is the leader of the Masad Taqwa Mosque in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. And he was named by federal prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing.
Yep.
So I guess when Mamdani won the mayorship, or during his campaign for his mayorship, he went to Friday prayers at this mosque and he posed with, photos with this person, and he praised them as being one of the nation's foremost Muslim leaders or something, or like a pillar of that community in Brooklyn, and he got a lot of shit for it.
Well, I was reading some of his views. Like if he strongly believes like that the Quran is law, and he said eventually, his belief is eventually the entire world is going to be Muslim.
Wow.
Yep. And, if you get caught stealing, you chop your fingers off, right? If you get caught, a woman gets caught without proper attire, she can be stoned.
Okay. So,
I mean, there's a lot of, some of the stuff that he believes in is just insane.
I'm not going to play into the Islamophobia.
No,
I'm sorry.
But
I hear what you're saying.
Yep.
But, like I've said before.
But it came out of his mouth.
Yeah. And let's listen to what the Christians are saying.
No, I know.
Right? They're saying some fucking crazy shit here too. These evangelical Christians.
Right. But this guy is a leader in the community.
Yeah.
And
you have evangelical Christian beliefs in the White House. They're supposedly the leaders too, right? They're already at the top.
All right. So what are they saying?
Why is it more normalized to hear, the Christian extremism?
Are the Christians saying we should chop off
No,
fingers?
but they're saying that women should not have jobs and they should be at home at their husband's beck and call and just raise family
No, that's wrong. That's wrong, but it's not as drastic.
It is pretty drastic
Not as,
because of how far we've come along, right?
right. But
And they've also tried to take away, our rights. If we wanted to get married, we could not. They're trying to take that away as well. So, yeah. So those are pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Considering how far our society has come.
Right. Speaking of 1993, today, the mayor of Boston raised a flag, and she caught a lot of criticism for it, a flag of Somalia. And what happened was there was an American veteran who had a U.S. flag with the 250th. It says 250 TH 250th with the circle with the stars.
Mm-hmm.
And they took that away. They raised the flag, and in place of where he had this flag hanging, they put a trash bucket in the same spot where his flag was. And people were chiming in like how Americans have built-in forgetters, like how in Somalia in '93 when Black Hawk Down,
Mm-hmm.
when they dragged the Marine helicopter through the streets naked, and then they burned him, and here we are lifting their flag. Like it's just I don't know.
But these are people who got out of there. And I don't know what the context of that whole thing was.
Right.
Was it a celebration, like a Somalia Day?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. It's
Okay.
their independence, celebrating their independence.
Okay. All right. So we all have flags, right?
Mhm.
Even our pride flags
Yeah.
were raised.
Right.
Okay. That was allowed. In some cases, in place of the American flag. It doesn't mean that we're erasing America.
No, I realize it. I realize
Right.
there's good Somalis, right?
There's good in
In everything,
culture,
yeah.
I believe, in every society.
But you know what's weird? You don't even know. Like I was looking at the pictures of Black Hawk Down, the real pictures, and they have pictures of like Somali men dragging the Marine
Mm-hmm.
pilot, and like you don't even know. Like some of those people that were involved back then, they might be living in America amongst us.
They could be.
You
yeah.
know,
Anyone could.
Yeah, it's just weird.
But that could be anywhere. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to just
yeah,
be in
no,
America.
I know.
They could be in Europe too,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to play into that because there's some people who are happy to be here. All right. Like you've been saying all week, how when the Tartan army, the Scottish were here,
Yeah.
they had to leave and they were all sad about it. And they were saying how beautiful this country is and everything else. I love this country too. Okay. And I've already said, even though I'm not feeling very patriotic,
Yeah.
right? I love my country.
Right.
This is where I was born.
Yeah.
All right. I was raised here. I spent my entire life here. My family fought to come here and survive. The thing is, yes, I'm proud. I'm not proud of what's happening.
Right.
That there's a difference.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Okay. And I believe that a lot of people, from other countries, even Muslim countries,
Mhm.
which don't agree with that Islamic extremists,
Yeah.
for the same way that I don't agree with fucking Christian extremists.
Right. You know what?
In my opinion, they're both fucked up.
Yeah. No. Religion brings out the best and worst.
And this
and
is why it
it's-
should be separated.
Yeah.
Right.
It can't be in. It's just.
And there was this one fucking asshole that said the other day that I don't know who it was, but it was behind Trump, and he was saying how it's not written in the Constitution that there needs to be a separation of church and state. Like, really? Does it have to be fucking written for you? Isn't that shit implied?
Yeah. Really.
Like freedom of speech,
Yeah.
freedom to be like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to impose your religion onto
Yeah.
others that don't have the same beliefs?
Right. Right.
Right? Because you forget that this country was supposed to be diverse
Yeah.
and allow everyone,
Yeah.
right? It was supposed to be inclusive, and now it's not.
Right. Right.
Okay.
But we started this conversation about how the Europeans, due to the World Cup being in the United States, on how America is portrayed to the rest of the world, especially in Europe, that we are a shithole, that there's nothing but like riots and fights and ICE picking people up and which is happening, but they didn't see any of that. They got to come here and stay in a nice hotel. They were invited into people's homes. The culture, the food, the landscape. They loved everything about America, and there was thousands of them that were saying how the way America is being portrayed. Like, why are we being portrayed by the media in Europe? Like, why are they doing that to that? Like, we're hated. It's probably because of our government. It's got to be.
I think it has a lot to do with who runs the media. Because if you look at it here, right, who owns the media? Right, these billionaires like CBS, Barry Weiss, right? She's a Zionist. Again, there's a difference between Jewish people and Zionist Jews. All right, like they can be separated because in Israel there are people who refuse to go into the IDF, into their army. All right, to serve because they don't agree with genocide. Their words, not mine.
No, I hear you.
Okay,
absolutely.
And that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to know where your sources are, who your sources are, and where the news is coming from. All right. I'm glad that they went back home to report back to Europe and go, hey, that's not what it was like.
Right.
But at the same time, remember, they're also on vacation because every time I go on vacation, I'm like, I can live here too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
You don't.
The reality is
you don't go. You don't go on vacation to the bowels of the country.
That's what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah.
You're not working every day.
Yeah.
You're not doing your day-to-day routine.
But even that guy from the UK with the row houses, the porch.
Yeah, how he misses porches.
Yeah.
And the
I want to sit on the porch.
Yeah.
And listen to the birds.
I mean, they have beautiful parks out there.
Oh yeah,
in the
no
UK,
doubt. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's interesting because I sometimes look at the UK because we have a friend who's out in England who lives in London, and I'm like, don't come back here right now. Stay where you are.
Yeah.
Right. You're so close to getting your citizenship there.
Right.
Just live it out for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Secure yourself so at least you have dual, okay? And you can go wherever.
How long does it take to become a citizen?
Right now it's 5 years, but she's afraid that the UK is going to change it to 10.
Wow.
Because what's going on there is happening here too.
Yeah.
They're anti-immigration.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. And that happened a while back with Brexit because the UK used to be part of the EU.
Right.
They still had their own currency. They didn't have the euro, all right? But the borders were open to, to France, to Germany, right? To all of those, Spain, to all those countries that wanted to just go across the channel, they could.
Right.
With no difficulty.
Yeah.
Okay. And Brexit happened because of scaremongering. This whole anti-immigration stance that people started to take. They were blaming how immigrants were taking their jobs and how they're like ruining their country and using their health care.
Well, the animosity is coming from somewhere. Okay, the immigrants are coming in, right? If they were coming in and good things were happening, I don't think Americans would have a problem. But what's going on is that they're coming in and Americans are seeing that they are getting benefits that the everyday American can't get.
They're not, though.
But that's what's being
happening.
Well, but that's what all the hoopla and fighting is about.
Yeah.
So if they set it up better, like the sanctuary cities, right? The mayor of New York, the black mayor who started that, having it be a sanctuary city, and it just turned out to be a mess. It turned out to be a mess out there. With what happened in the riots and the fighting and this and it happened in every other city, like taking people in taking them from like there was some people in Texas from I don't know where they were from. I want to say Haiti, and they put them on buses and sent them to Martha's Vineyard. Like, you don't do that. No, think about it.
But think about who are the people who are doing this.
Right, but you're doing it purposely
Right.
to cause trouble.
You're saying like, oh, if they only like communicated it better or something. No, they don't want to communicate it better. They're doing exactly what they want.
But the bus dropped them off there, and they were sleeping on the streets. There was no game plan.
Well, it's kind of what Texas was doing when they bust everybody to New York.
Fucking craziness.
Right? There's no need for that. What you need to do is improve your immigration laws, right? Improve the pathway
and have a system in place
to help people get through. What you didn't need more soldiers at the border. What you needed were lawyers to help people get into the country legally.
Yeah.
Right? You get them in legally where they pay taxes, they have to work, right? So then they could pay into the system that they could, benefit from.
Years ago, for you to come to America, you had to have somebody living here in order to come. You had to be sponsored.
Yes.
And you had to have a place to stay.
You're telling me my family went through this.
Right. But that's like, when did it all change? What it is, too, is just too much of an influx.
Well,
there's too many people, that
And why do you think that is?
Educate me.
Because we are responsible. We, America, is responsible for destabilizing all of these countries around us, okay? And they wonder why they want to get out when they make their conditions unlivable, unsafe, right? We are the reason why these countries are sending their people over, or people are running away from their countries, because we go in, we destabilize, we take resources, we steal. Look at what happened in Venezuela.
Yeah.
And now they have to contend with an earthquake on top of that.
Yeah.
Just having had an earthquake.
Is the U.S. sending aid there? Are we helping? We got to
I don't know. I haven't looked into that. I just saw in passing, I was like, Jesus Christ, like these poor people. Because not everybody agrees with their governments just because they're in place, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, remember, it was almost like a 50-50 split with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And for those of you who didn't vote, like you're complicit. Sorry to say it that way.
I blame everything on politicians. Politicians ruined America.
No, the people ruined America. This is how they voted.
Right, but politicians fucking ruin everything. They really do.
Again, but people voted for them. They voted them in to
you
allow
vote
this to
somebody
happen.
in, but you vote them in, and they become crooks.
No, they don't pay attention. They don't pay attention. And I'm not just like talking shit about Republicans.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of Democrats that I have issues with too.
Oh yeah, no, like
those who are taking like money
literally
from the lobby of Israel.
Yep, they get into politics for the
their
paycheck.
Shitty genocidal behavior.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that too. And these people are going to sway their decisions based on the money that they've been collecting. Right. It's dirty pool everywhere you look. So we were talking about like Brexit, right? So Brexit happened like in 2020.
Politics.
But I'm just letting you know, like I was saying, why did it happen? The immigration rhetoric, right?
Yeah.
So the Leave campaign heavily emphasized border control. You see, so critics argued that they stoked fears about public services being overwhelmed by migrants. And it's not untrue. Okay, let me just say it in this context. When I was in England and I had to go to the urgent care, I didn't have to pay anything. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I thought that was cool, right? But they take care of everybody that comes through there, the NHS, which is their National Health Service. So I came back with a bunch of coffee and pastries for them. Because basically she was like, you're a tourist in this country. The NHS is funded by the taxes that you pay when you buy things. So go shopping.
Wow.
Yeah. But I came back with stuff anyway because I was like, I was very thankful.
What's HMS stand for? Do you know?
NHS, that's a National Health Service. So their healthcare is not privatized like ours.
Yeah.
They are national health insurance. Everybody pays into it.
Yep.
And everybody gets taken care of.
Yeah.
Right? I was taken care of. I'm not even a citizen. Okay. So yes. So when you have refugees who need, help with illness, injury, that sort of thing. Yeah. That could probably overwhelm realistically, but they made it sound like they were taking advantage, and they weren't.
Right.
That's not how that is.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, and the economic warnings that they said that there would be an economic collapse because of high unemployment and severe emergency budgets if voters chose to leave, that sort of thing. It was a whole thing, okay? Because there were a lot of regrets after Brexit happened. Their GDP got reduced, for example. Their investments, business investments, fell by 12 to 18% due to prolonged regulatory uncertainty, making the UK less attractive market for international firms. So basically, anybody who was in the European Union, for example, if there was like, a German company or a bank or whatever that was in London, they left because now they're no longer part of the European Union. So they, in the end, lost money, right? Yeah. And now you had no tariffs between countries. French wine can go through, for example, and now it's getting tariffed. The cost of food probably went up because imports that had to go to the country, which were free of whatever, now they had to pay, right? So yeah, they regret their move. And some people even I've heard wanted to go back, but now they can't. Okay. But what was really disturbing about that, because it made me think about it. Here's what's going on in England. Okay. Because how we have MAGA in America, in England.
MAGA. I think MAGA is better than MAGA.
I think they're both shitty.
No, but I like the word.
Here it goes.
We're here in central London. You can see there are thousands of people taking part in this march that's been called by the far-right activist Tommy Robinson. A march like this, really, a few years ago in the UK would have been unthinkable. It has a lot in common with the MAGA movement in the United States. You see people here wearing Make England Great Again caps.
Red caps.
The rally was organised last weekend by Britain's best-known far-right activist who calls himself Tommy Robinson. It was nationalist and anti-immigration.
My name's Dixie D. England. I'm an Englishman through and through. This country is...
Why did you come today?
Too many illegal immigrants coming in and destroying everything.
So why are you here today?
Against demographic change in our country. We're an Anglo-Saxon country that's been overwhelmed, losing our culture, our heritage. We built a beautiful one and we want that to be preserved.
When you say lost, you mean that the country's becoming less white?
Yeah.
Are you going to join them on the 4th of July, ladies?
Robinson,
it's overwhelming to them.
Lennon, for years was a
it's overwhelming. They're coming all at once.
Don't act like they're fucking victims. They're not. Everything was built for them already.
Right, but they're being overwhelmed, Carlos. All of a sudden.
Oh my God.
No, but all of a sudden, within the past 3 or 4 years, right, with the influx, it's overwhelming. It's out of control. Think about it, man. What they're going through.
No. You see, because they're not willing to help, right? If they took a different stance and helped those people legally become part of the country.
But while they're here, they're saying it. They're making a fucking mess out of everything.
And why do you think...
They're trashing the place.
Why do you think homegrown...
They're kicking doors down, and they're kicking doors down to live in places that don't belong,
What do you mean that don't belong?
They're places on the market for sale. They're booting the doors down to live in there. It doesn't belong to them. They're doing shit like that.
I don't think that's what's happening.
They are. Maybe I'm watching the wrong stuff.
Yeah, I think so too.
But you don't think? Yeah, I see it on the news, man. Like,
known for extreme anti-Islam views, but he's been growing in influence.
Would you describe yourself as far right?
No, I mean, I don't care about the label. It doesn't bother us. If you want to call us racist, if you want to call us far right, whatever, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I think it's just a way of intimidating people and making them feel like they can't speak what they actually think.
The march was significantly smaller than a similar one called by Robinson last autumn, suggesting his support is still limited.
We've got our country back!
But radical right-wing populism is growing in the UK. The far-right party of Nigel Farage, the Brexit leader, has dramatically increased its support recently. Many at the march said they were struggling.
The cost of living is just going up and up. Our taxes are going up and up. People could barely even afford a house these days, let alone get a job. So we're all skint at the minute. I'm 28 years old, and There's no way I'll be able to afford a house in my lifetime. It's impossible.
But it's the immigrants' fault?
MAGA in the United States. Do you see similarities?
Absolutely. I see it in a lot of places around the world. A lot of places. It's,
Can I ask, what do you think about Donald Trump?
love him.
You love him?
I love him.
He's good, yeah. He does what he says he's going to do. That's what you need, somebody that's going to do that in this country.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my problem with it, right? Like, you can't afford a home because of immigrants? No. You can't afford a home because the corporations, the billionaires that your fucking government puts before their people, puts them first before their people. That's what the problem is. All right. And all the shit that you're seeing probably is news that's controlled by those same people. I don't understand why people cannot critically think and try to like make their own decisions. But that to me is a problem, right? You're going to blame people who have nothing for the reason why you don't have something? No, that's not how that works.
No, I realize that, but like I spent a lot of time working at a homeless shelter, and the Haitians that came into the Quincy area, okay, the Haitians, like, there were people living at the shelter 2 and 3 years, right? It's their house. They're unstable. They're living there. They had a bed every night. The Haitians came in, and management told them that they get a bed every night because they're getting funded. The shelter is getting money from the government to help these people. And that's where the anger comes in.
Okay, so
That's
imagine
where the anger comes in.
if that money
Like,
was
a
not-
vet can't sleep because they have to give the bed. Now, I've seen it myself. Vets told me.
Yeah, of course the vet's going to tell you that, right? But imagine if the money wasn't there at all, and you see Black people from outside of the country coming in to a shelter, right? That should be open to all,
It is.
and it's first come, first serve.
That's right.
And if that money wasn't there, do you think that they would get a fair shot?
Well, they'd have to wait in line and get into the program just like everybody else.
If they were there before them on any given day, would they have a fair shot?
They would. I'll tell you why. Because I see how it works. Okay, there's Black girls and guys behind the counter. They take care of the Blacks. The Spanish take care of the Spanish. It's so fucked up. It isn't funny. You know, it's not fair across the boards.
Well, you know what? That's how
Life
that's
is.
how the no. That's how the society made it to
Right.
be.
No, I know.
Because who's at the top mostly?
White.
Okay. Right. So of course they're going to categorize everyone and force them into their own places. Like, you deal with them, I will deal with these. Because God forbid if they have to open their mind to deal with someone that's not like them.
But everything we're talking about, right? There's problems all over the world because of the influx that's going on all over the world. And it's a worldwide problem. And it's being done wrong. If it's a problem, something's not right.
Because our superpower, and I'm going to put in air quotes, superpower countries are destabilizing all of these nations. We take from them and we don't give back.
Okay, but now the people that are living in those countries, they're taking their way of life here.
But that's what they know.
Throwing shit in the street, a lot of people, it's a lot of grossness and stuff. I'm not racist by all means, but like, it's just it's ugly everywhere. And it's just, let's get off politics. It's fun. We've been talking about politics.
A great deal about this.
It goes.
Anyways,
it gets ugly.
I know I think this is a good place to stop. And I know sometimes we talk about things and we don't really exactly
politics, know. We
exactly
get into fucking politics.
We don't know exactly what we're talking about all the time, 100%, but would love to get some comments, corrections, and everything else. Don't get heated. We're allowed to debate, Anthony. We're allowed to talk.
But I can see that you're getting riled. I'm riling you up because I'm not agreeing with you on some of the things. I got beliefs too. And some of them are fucking scumbags that are coming here.
Well, we have a bunch of scumbags that are already here. Remember.
I wouldn't want some of these people fucking marrying my daughter, man. Like,
okay. All right.
Seriously.
I guess we're going to stop there.
It's ugliness.
comment, describe, if you can, like.
They're instilling their way of life here, and it's just this grossness.
All right, guys, that's enough for today.
I'm talking about politics. It's just like
Okay.
I don't know enough about it. It's just
You're allowed to express how you feel.
yeah.
That's
It's just not fair.
that's America, right?
No, it is.
All right, guys, that's enough for today. Yikes.
I want to talk about happy stuff, Carlos. We get too
Next time we'll talk about happy stuff.
I don't know what to talk about.